After the final exam, Lin Zhu has been staying at home, barely going out for over half a month. When she occasionally went downstairs to buy snacks and daily necessities at the entrance of the community, she always heard the uncles and aunts in the community discussing this year's humanities top scorer in the college entrance examination, Yi Zhao, who was admitted to Peking University. The little girl is not only good at studying, but also beautiful. Look at how well her parents did, giving birth to such an excellent child. I heard she has a younger brother whose grades are also really good. The young man is also looking fine. Look at their family genes. Lin Zhu thought that if it was in the past, she would probably be secretly pleased and even proudly praise her own good taste in her heart whenever she heard any mention of Yi Feng from the neighbors in the community. But now, she didn't want to hear anything to do with Yi Feng anymore. The unbearable soreness in her heart constantly reminded her that Yi Feng was someone unrelated to her, a person who never belonged to her. In the 4th week of the vacation, Lin Zhu received a call from Zhu Mei. Zhu Mei said she wanted to come to F County to visit her for a day. Lin Zhu happily agreed and began planning where to take Zhu Mei. F County was really small and had no entertainment venues. The only large shopping mall was not yet built. Only in the center of the county seat was there a not-so-small Green Island Park, which had some simple fitness equipment, as well as music fountains, small suspension bridges, and circular benches. Opposite Green Island Park was the Green Island community, where both Yi Feng and Yi Zhao lived. On the park bench, Lin Zhu and Zhu Mei chewed on ice cream and looked up at the fountain that fluctuated with the music not far away. The song playing in the park's sound system was "It's Been So Quiet," the insert song from the TV series The Legend of Fairy Sword. Zhu Mei was unusually quiet that day, not talking much. Lin Zhu was likewise silent. Zhu Mei's gaze would occasionally pass through the rising and falling fountain and fall on the large red banner fluttering at the entrance of the Green Island community. The banner read, "Congratulations to our county's Yi Zhao for being successfully admitted to Peking University." Lin Zhu's gaze passed through the fluttering banner and fell on the rows of residential buildings in the community. She did not know which household was Yi Feng's, but she liked to stroll around Green Island Park as soon as she met him. Every winter and summer vacation in the past, her mother always insisted that she had to go out for more than 2 hours of exercise every day. She instinctively came here every time, just for the 1 in 10,000 chance of encountering him. The sky here, the fountain, the suspension bridge, the bench, the vending machine selling cotton candy and ice cream, everywhere is filled with his shadow. Lin Zhu thinks that if life was a blank sheet of paper, her life would probably be a messy and simple pen and ink drawing of black and white. But he was colored, splashing all over this piece of white paper, so her life was all dyed with his colors, not a spot was spared. Do you know, Lin Zhu? The feeling of liking someone is really powerless. I feel powerless not because he doesn't like me, but because the person he likes I can never compare no matter how hard I try. Zhu Mei suddenly said. A chill ran through Lin Zhu's heart. She wanted to tell Zhu Mei, I know exactly how powerless you are because I am just like you. She draped an arm over Zhu Mei's head, allowing Zhu Mei to rest gently on her shoulder, listening to the song echoing again and again in her ears. My love for you is always quiet, in exchange for your occasional sincerity. Clearly, it's a movie of 3 people, but I just can't have a name. In the first year of high school, she watched The Legend of Fairy Sword and thought that Yi Feng's casual style was very similar to Li Zhaoyao. They were both sincere and passionate, equally straightforward and impulsive, and one day they would become great heroes. At that time, she thought she would be Zhao Linger. Now she realized that she was only playing the role of Lin Yuru, or perhaps couldn't even qualify as that, being more akin to a nameless passerby. He was the only protagonist in her youthful story, while in his own, she was never able to leave behind a name. Lin Zhu and Zhu Mei stayed in Green Island Park until the evening. After Zhu Mei boarded the bus back to town, Lin Zhu received a call from her mother who was working the night shift. Her mother said that a colleague of hers had contacted Yi Zhao in the afternoon, hoping Yi Zhao could find time to tutor her child in comprehensive arts courses. Her mother was very interested and asked Lin Zhu if she also wanted some lessons with Yi Zhao to learn some answering methods for high school arts comprehensive examinations. Lin Zhu hesitated for a moment but eventually agreed. She said she wanted to go. In fact, Lin Zhu has always been intrigued by Yi Zhao. In her heart, Yi Zhao has always been an unattainable goddess, superior and brilliant. Yi Zhao was smart and pretty like a perfect creation of God, just like her younger brother, Yi Feng. At this thought, she shook her head and couldn't help but smile bitterly. When would she stop thinking about him again and again? Ever since knowing that Yifeng liked Xiamo, she had tried to avoid having any further overlap with him, making her utmost effort to keep Yifeng out of her life. Sadly, she could ignore the Yifeng in front of her, but couldn't ignore the Yifeng in her heart. That Yifeng was like a wound on her heart that would hurt at any accidental touch. She didn't know when this wound could truly be healed. One afternoon a week later, Linzu, following the address her mother gave her, set off for Yi Zhao's house. Upon arrival, she knocked at the door, which was answered by Yi Zhao. "Come in, no need to change your shoes," Yi Zhao said, smiling kindly. Linzu politely nodded in acknowledgement. With Yi Zhao's parents not around, Linzu entered the study room and sat at the desk with Yi Zhao. As Linzu laid out her history textbook on the desk and listened to Yi Zhao talk about how to recite historical facts and solve test problems, her eyes drifted towards the decorations and items near the desk. The study room was simply decorated with a black and white ink painting-like structure. The beige composite desk was neat and tidy with everything arranged very orderly. Only a green highlighter pen wedged between the desk and the wall was visibly out of place. "I need a highlighter," Yi Zhao said suddenly, rummaging through a nearby container but failing to find one. Having seen the green highlighter stuck in the crevice, Linzu stood up and took it out. "Sister, there's one here," she said. "Ah, right." Yi Zhao seemed to remember something. "This pen belongs to Yifeng. He left it here last time he was studying." Hearing this, Linzu's heart skipped a beat. She felt her fingers tremble as they gripped the pen. "You know Yifeng, don't you? I remember he told me about you, saying that your writing is even better than mine," Yi Zhao said with a smile. "No, that's not true. You're definitely the better writer," Linzu quickly humbly clarified, although her heart ached slightly. Yi Zhao didn't say anything further. She took the pen from Linzu and began to highlight key points in the history textbook. "Do you usually use a highlighter to mark your textbooks?" Yi Zhao suddenly asked her. "I don't. I usually use water pens in red, blue, and black," Linzu replied. "Then you can take this pen. I think it's better than a water pen, and it's clearer to see," said Yi Zhao. Linzu was taken aback. Her feelings were a bit hard to describe. "Is he not using it anymore?" She hesitated to ask. "He can't even count how many pens he has lost." "It's fine, you can use it," Yi Zhao casually replied. Linzu stared at the pen in Yi Zhao's hand and quietly thanked her. After Yi Zhao finished explaining the knowledge points and review methods to Linzu, the two of them sat in their seats and chatted for a while. "Do you have someone you like?" Yi Zhao suddenly asked. Hesitating for a moment, Linzu was suddenly unsure of how to reply. "I won't ask who he is, nor will I tell anyone." Yi Zhao suddenly laughed, her eyes curving. "You just need to tell me if you have or not." Linzu honestly nodded her head. For the first time in her life in this way, she entrusted her secret to a senior student she wasn't very familiar with. Yi Zhao laughed again and honestly said, "I also have. But he likes someone else, he doesn't like me." Yi Zhao tugged at the corner of her mouth, a somewhat bitter smile appearing on her face. So Yi Zhao too was in unrequited love. So this was why Yi Zhao had been always rejecting Luo Yichuan. After being quiet for a moment, Linzu carefully asked senior sister, "What is the senior you like? Him?" Yi Zhao thought for a moment and replied, "I really don't know how to describe him. He is very special. Among all the people in the world, he is the only one who cannot be classified." Yi Zhao said, her expression becoming gentle. "No one else is him. He is the only one who cannot be classified. No one else is him." Linzu thought the person she liked was also this way. He will never be categorizable, duplicated, or replaced. Perhaps there are indeed better people than him in this world, but none of them are him. But what does it matter? He already had someone he liked. He never liked her. "Let's stop there," said Yi Zhao, interrupting her thoughts. "That's enough for today. Go back and digest. If there's anything you don't understand, call me." Linzu came back out of her thoughts and nodded her head. She saw Yi Zhao close the cap of the highlighter and was about to throw the pen back into the pen holder. Linzu's throat suddenly tightened and she didn't know what to say. She just kept her eyes firmly fixed on the highlighter in Yi Zhao's hand, staring at it for a long time. She's not unable to buy a highlighter herself, but the pen she wanted was something she couldn't buy. No matter where she went or how much money she spent, she couldn't buy it. Noticing her unusual behavior, Yizhao was puzzled. She quickly understood and handed the pen to her. I'm sorry, I was so caught up in talking that I almost forgot. Here, you take it. Lin Zhu embarrassedly smiled and accepted the pen. When Lin Zhu got home, she took the highlighter out of her school bag and gently put it on the desk. She sat quietly looking at this pen for a long time, finally admitting defeat and surrender in her heart. No matter how many times she told herself not to like him, in reality, she couldn't even reject a pen. Not long after the start of the first semester of senior grade 3, the city experiment welcomed the autumn school sports festival. After a bout of autumn rain, the damp, cool wind, rolling the fallen yellow leaves, swept across the entire campus. The red banner hanging high above the stands fluttered due to the wind and rustled along with it. When Lin Zhu and Ju Mei, holding cushions and water cups, arrived at the stadium, there were not much people on the playground or in the stands. They found the position of class 16 in the stands according to the class plate and chose 2 seats to sit down. Ju Mei rummaged a large heap of snacks from her family's small supermarket, posing as if she was preparing for a New Year's party in elementary school. She gave a bag of chips to Lin Zhu, then took out a bottle of iced mineral water from the plastic bag, tipped her head back and chugged a few mouthfuls. Why are you drinking cold water so early in the morning? Lin Zhu frowned and said, Stop drinking. I have room temperature water here. You have to run 3,000 meters later. Don't drink until your stomach hurts. Don't worry, my body is sturdy. Ju Mei raised her eyebrows, suddenly leaned in close to her ear and whispered, I'm going to have my aunt in these 2 days, but I guess it won't happen this morning. Upon hearing this, Lin Zhu took the water bottle from her hand and said, Stop drinking. Ju Mei shrugged helplessly, raised her hand and touched Lin Zhu's fluffy bangs. At 7 in the morning, more and more people began to fill the stadium. Once the stands were filled with students, the host stood on the podium, tested the microphone, and announced the official start of the opening ceremony. At 7:30, accompanied by the speeches of the principal and sports student representative, the formation ceremony of each class officially began. Lin Zhu and Ju Mei were not included in the 16-person formation of each class. The impassioned music from the audio system was deafening. The host held the microphone, stood on the podium, and emotionally read the commentary for each formation team that passed by the podium. When the formation of Senior 3 Class 1 passed by the stands of Class 16, Ju Mei suddenly excitedly nudged Lin Zhu's arm. Hey, look at Shemo who has dyed her hair again. The color is different from before. Lin Zhu looked over in a daze and saw Shemo, who was standing at the forefront of the formation, holding a sign. She was wearing a white shirt, pink pleated skirt, and long socks, with a tall figure and straight legs. Her hair was of a lighter color, shining a warm brown under the sunlight. Her long wavy hair was tied up into a high ponytail, swaying with her advancing steps. This is how the girl he likes should look like. This is how the girl suited for him should look like. While Lin Zhu was staring in a daze, she suddenly noticed out of the corner of her eye that Ju Mei was bending over with her hand on her stomach. What's wrong? Stomachache? Lin Zhu asked alertly. It seems my aunt came early. Ju Mei bit her lip with a slight cold sweat on her forehead. I'm about to run next. What should I do? She asked with a frown. You hold on for a bit. I'll go to the infirmary to get you some painkiller. Lin Zhu quickly stood up. No need to go to the infirmary. I have ibuprofen in my bag. Just get it from the classroom. It's nearer. All right, hang in there for a while. After Lin Zhu finished speaking, she quickly left the stands and ran toward the school building. When Lin Zhu returned to class, she found Luo Yichuan was still packing up his things at his seat and had not left for the playground. Why did you come back? Seeing Lin Zhu, Luo Yichuan asked in surprise. Ju Mei has stomachache. I came to get medicine for her. While speaking, Lin Zhu hurriedly rummaged through Ju Mei's bag. Why did she suddenly have a stomachache? Is it serious? Did you go to the infirmary? Luo Yichuan leaned over and helped her rummage, bombarding her with questions. Lin Zhu's face turned awkward. She didn't know how to explain and just perfunctorily said, It's quite serious, but we don't need to go to the infirmary. No, why wouldn't she go to the infirmary if it's serious? Why does she suddenly have a stomachache? Luo Yichuan still couldn't understand. Upon hearing this, Lin Zhu suddenly raised her head and glared at him. He was stared at for 2 seconds before he realized her. That one? Lin Zhu nodded, added helplessly, She just had a bottle of ice water. Is she insane? Luo Yichuan was exasperated, always in pain, yet never learns, she deserves it. Luo Yichuan spoke harshly, but grabbed the medicine even before Lin Zhu could. Then he quickly rushed out of the classroom. I'll deliver it to her. I'm faster than you, he said. Mind your leg. Lin Zhu watched his retreating figure and reminded, her heart unexpectedly warmed up. Ever since Jiu Mei helped him with his injury once, Lin Zhu had noticed a subtle change in Luo Yichuan's attitude towards Jiu Mei. How anxious and angry he was just then, even he might not have realized it. Lin Zhu silently prayed in her heart, Luo Yichuan, please fall for Jiu Mei quickly. Jiu Mei is a very good girl, and she truly likes you. With that thought, Lin Zhu picked up her fluffy coat from the back of her chair and exited the classroom, intending to keep Jiu Mei warm later. She didn't expect to bump into Yi Feng right as she left the building. He was holding a bottle of water, coming from the campus supermarket nearby. Lin Zhu instinctively turned her head, pretending not to see him, but he called her. Going to the playground? Let's go together. He ran over cheerfully. Lin Zhu pursed her lips, hesitated a moment, unable to say her refusal. Amidst the whistling wind, the withered yellow leaves were picked up and twirled in the air. Yi Feng hugged his arms, the chilly wind made him shiver. Lin Zhu noticed, he only wore a very thin shirt. Why are you dressed so lightly? She couldn't resist asking. I wore a thick sweater. Yi Feng rubbed his arms, shivered. Just now one of my classmates ran 3,000 meters. He was underdressed, so I gave him my sweater. Lin Zhu felt a tremor in her heart. No worries. Yi Feng looked at her. A pleasing smile appeared on his lips. When I reach the playground, I will have something to wear. I left my school jacket there. Then let's hurry. Lin Zhu unconsciously quickened her pace, noticed her fluffy coat in her hand, hesitated and asked, I have a coat here. Do you want to wear it for now? Your coat is too small. Yi Feng laughed. I'm fine. I have good health, resistant to the cold. Lin Zhu hummed in agreement, but said nothing more. Why did you only leave the classroom now? He asked. Jiu Mei has a stomachache, so I went back to the classroom to get some medicine for her. I see. He said, I remember she ran 3,000 meters this morning. Can she still run? I don't know. Lin Zhu shook her head. Does your class have anyone who can run for her? I heard the girls in your class aren't very physically fit. There's nobody to run long distance in each sports meeting. If it can't be helped, then I'll run for her, Lin Zhu said. Yi Feng stared at her in disbelief, skeptically asked, How will you do it? You seem to be gasping desperately when you run 2 rounds of 800 meters, but this is 3,000 meters, 7.5 rounds. Do you really think you can persist? No problem. No matter how I run, it's my business, not yours. Lin Zhu thought to herself. When Lin Zhu returned to the stand, the stadium was already bustling. The stand was filled with bustling noise, and students were shuttling back and forth on the athletics track. In the middle of the field, long jump, javelin, and shot put events were being carried out one after another. When Lin Zhu arrived at her seat, she did not see Jiu Mei, but only Luo Yichuan, who was sitting in Jiu Mei's place and drinking water. Where is Jiu Mei? She asked. I asked her to go back to the dormitory to have a rest. The weather is too cold today, and she couldn't stand it. Later in the 3,000 meters, Chen Qingqing said she can take her place. Lin Zhu nodded and sat down next to him. You help her keep an eye on her stuff. I'm going to hang out with the guys from the first class for a while. Luo Yichuan got up and said. Lin Zhu agreed and stood up to make way for him. Who else in our class can replace Jiu Mei in the race? In front of the guardrail at the first row of the stand, the physical committee member Zhang Minju suddenly shouted out a sentence. The girls scattered on the stand were chatting and eating snacks. Zhang Minju shouted several times, but there was still no response. Seeing this, Lin Zhu stood up, walked down the steps and asked Zhang Minju, Is there anyone else to run for Jiu Mei's project? Originally, Chen Qingqing said she could run for her, but she just finished her long jump and said her ankle was twisted a bit and she can't run. I'll go, Lin Zhu said, and before Zhang Minju could react, she took the pin and number badge from his hand. Outside the check-in tent in the innermost track, Lin Zhu was bowing her head and filling her class and number on the table when she suddenly heard someone shouting her name behind her. She turned her head and found that the person standing behind her was Yao Tingting, who had transferred back to the science class shortly after the division. Lin Zhu, why are you running? Isn't Jiu Mei running for your class? Yao Tingting asked her. Jiu Mei is feeling unwell today. I'll replace her, Lin Zhu said. After the two of them finished filling out the information, they walked to their respective positions at the starting point of the track, with Yao Tingting's position right next to hers. "I feel quite a bit of pressure running this event," Yao Tingting said while warming up. "After all, last time at the spring sports event, our class came first in both the men's and women's 3,000 meters. The last one to run the women's 3,000 meters was Xiamo, and the one to run the men's 3,000 meters was Yifeng." Lin Su's heart trembled, and without saying much, she quietly responded, "You know, how could they be so compatible? They look good, study well, and even do well in sports." "Ah, it seems like they were paired up by God when they were born." Yao Tingting shook her head and sighed. Yao Tingting's words were like a needle, piercing Lin Su's heart time and time again. As much as she used to enjoy listening to Yao Tingting's gossip about campus with her ears poised, she now wished she could cover her ears with both hands. It seemed if she just covered her ears and didn't listen, everything that happened between Yifeng and Xiamo would never have existed. If she stopped listening, Yifeng would belong only to her forever. As other runners gradually took their positions at the starting line, the referee came over with the starter gun and announced the start of the race. The preparatory gunshot sounded. Lin Su took a deep breath, slowly squatting ready to start. As the second gunshot echoed, Lin Su abruptly stood up and sprinted out with the surrounding crowd. The sound of footsteps came rushing from all directions, as other athletes overtook her one after another, leaving overlapping silhouettes in her vision. Yet these silhouettes were all blurry in her eyes, like illusions. The only thing her gaze focused on was the figure of the girl running in the first place. Yao Tingting said that Xiamo came first in the 3,000 meters last time. Lin Su calculated the gap between herself and this girl in her mind, as if it represented the gap between her and Xiamo. She liked Yifeng and wanted Yifeng to like her as well. From that moment on, she listed many requirements for being loved that she needed to fulfill. She needed to perform well academically, to be beautiful, to be cheerful and confident, to be popular, to be good at sports. In order to meet any of these requirements, she had to make a great effort. However, after all these years of such effort, apart from making the grade academically, she still couldn't meet any of the other requirements. Yet Xiamo could meet all of these requirements with ease. Xiamo wasn't required to make an effort like her, because Xiamo was naturally excellent, beautiful, cheerful, popular, and good at sports. But she just wasn't willing to accept this. Lin Su thought that those things that Xiamo could do effortlessly, she could also achieve if she tried her hardest. She had to. She wanted to prove to Yifeng and let him know that she was no worse than Xiamo. The cheering from the stand echoed in her ears, and Lin Su looked at the increasingly distant figure of the girl running in first place, suddenly accelerated, gritted her teeth and sprinted towards the front without concern. She forced herself to keep running round after round, with her arms and legs moving forcefully as if they were the hands of a clock that would never stop. Eventually, the people running in front of her were surpassed by her one by one. With more than half a lap to go, she could overtake the girl at the front. Enduring the tearing pain in her throat, the taste of blood in her mouth, and the weight in her legs that felt like lead, she sprinted forward with all her might. Just as she was about to pass by the first-class stand, she unconsciously lifted her gaze towards it. It seemed that as long as she took a glance at him, she would be able to run a little faster, a little faster. She had to go on, had to come first, had to prove it to him. She caught sight of a familiar figure on the stairs on the side of the first-class stand. Yifeng and Xiamo were taking steps towards the girl's dormitory. Xiamo was talking to him with her head tilted back. He was leaning over listening. His gaze towards Xiamo was filled with patience and gentleness. Suddenly, Lin Su could no longer take another step. She asked herself deep within, "Lin Su, what exactly are you trying to prove to him? Don't you understand? What you are striving to prove to him has never meant anything in his eyes. Because the one he likes is Xiamo, not you." Her thoughts were distracted and her speed unconsciously slowed down, feeling as if she had lost all her strength. Other runners passed by her, and a sudden collision on her shoulder caught her off guard. She stumbled and fell violently onto the track. The person who bumped into her paused for a moment, quickly apologized and ran towards the finish line. Around her, countless footsteps passed by her again. "Lin Su." From afar, a girl from class 16 called out her name with anxiety. There was a burning sensation on her knee. She bit her lower lip from the pain, vaguely feeling that her knee had been scratched, but still stood up and managed to complete the remaining half circle with all her strength. After crossing the finish line, a few girls from her class surrounded her. "Are you hurt? Should we go to the infirmary?" they asked anxiously. Enduring the pain, Linzu replied, "I'm fine." She claimed she needed to use the restroom, urging the girls to return to the stand, and finally, when she turned her back, she blinked and allowed her tears to flow. She walked through the noisy stands, limping alone toward the infirmary. No one paid her any attention, and her palm also got scraped a bit, so she didn't wipe away her tears but let them slide down her cheeks, evaporated by the cold wind. The door of the infirmary was unlocked. She pushed the door open and found that no one was inside. Earlier on the field, a classmate had fainted after the race. The school doctor must have been called for an emergency. Linzu sat on the white bed, gently rolled up the trouser leg of her sports pants to reveal her bloodied knee. It hurt. She bit her lip and turned to search for cotton swabs and iodine in the medicine box by the bed. Linzu? Yifeng suddenly appeared at the entryway of the infirmary. His gaze fell on her bleeding knee and he furrowed his brows. "Did you fall when you were running?" he asked. Linzu was stunned, then nodded. "Didn't I tell you, if you can't run, don't push yourself?" Yifeng sighed, asking, "Isn't the school doctor here?" Linzu nodded and asked, "Why are you here?" Shimo was feeling a bit cold. "I was just taking her back to the dormitory to get medicine." Linzu's voice trembled. She bowed her head and didn't look at him again, picking up the cotton swab to dip into the iodine. She held the swab soaked in iodine, staring at the dirty wound mixed with dust and grains of sand. Suddenly she felt a bit hesitant. She gently touched it with the swab. The pain made her bite her lip, her hand trembled, and the swab dropped to the floor. Out of the corner of her eye, she noticed that Yifeng, who was standing not far away, was watching her. She ignored his gaze, bending down to pick up the dropped swab. The pain from the knees made her hiss involuntarily. "I can help you with it, first we need to disinfect it." Yifeng suddenly came over, bending over to pick up the swab from the floor. He put it in the trash can, then got a pair of tweezers and dipped a cotton swab into a bottle of alcohol. "No need." She barely got the rejection out when Yifeng squatted down in front of her. "It'll hurt a bit, try to bear with it." The boy had his dense eyelashes lowered. His skin was dazzlingly white under the light. He held the tweezers, applying the alcohol to her knee bit by bit, with a focused expression. The sunlight cast a clean and warm halo around him through the light blue curtain. In the quiet early autumn afternoon, it seemed as though time had frozen in the moment, no longer flowing. Could time really freeze? How great it would be if time could truly freeze at this moment and never flow again. Linzu stared blankly at his actions, her nose suddenly filled with a soreness. The tears in her eyes suddenly seemed unbearable and were about to fall. She slightly tilted her head back, trying hard to hold back her tears. She didn't dare to reach up to wipe them, for fear that he might notice. "What's wrong?" Noticing her trembling body, Yifeng looked up to see her tear-streaked face. "Does it hurt that much?" He furrowed his brows and asked. Too scared to look him in the eye, Linzu nodded, her voice obscured by the stuffy sound of her nose. "Then I'll be gentler," Yifeng placated, lightening his movements. Putting down the tweezers, he picked up the iodine-soaked swab, smeared over the wound briefly, and gently fanned the wound with his hand. "Is this better?" The tears in Linzu's eyes could no longer be held back at his gentle gesture. She covered her face with her hands, unable to control the sobs welling up within her. Yifeng watched her in silence. After a moment, he pulled out 2 tissues from a box beside the medical kit and handed them to her. "It's too painful," Linzu murmured, wiping away her tears with the tissue. Pretending to be a bit embarrassed, she continued, "The pain makes me want to cry." "Don't laugh at me." "I won't laugh at you," she heard him chuckle softly. "Next time don't overdo it while running. Work within your abilities, okay? You always have to be first, right?" he said. Inside, Linzu responded to him, "Only if you like me. If you like me, I won't have to push myself any longer." After leaving the medical room, Linzu didn't directly go to the playground, but returned to her dormitory. Jiu Mei was laying on her bed reading a secret stash of novel magazines, her complexion much improved due to the painkiller she had taken. "What happened to you? Did you fall?" Jiu Mei frowned and asked as she saw Linzu limping. "Yeah, I fell a bit while running." "Running? Why were you running? You didn't run the 3,000 meters for me, did you?" Jiu Mei asked. Linzu didn't answer her, and only faintly smiled at her. "Chen Qingqing said she would run for me. How come you ended up running?" Jiu Mei asked in surprise. "She sprained her ankle and couldn't run." No one in our class could, so I went. Lin Zhu felt exhausted and her voice became weak. I'm fine. Lin Zhu smiled. I need to rest a little bit, I'm really tired. Jiu Mei was stunned for a while, then nodded. As she lay on her bed, Lin Zhu's mind kept flashing back to Yi Feng when he was applying medicine on her. Her eyes started to sting again. Jiu Mei spoke up and distracted her. Let me tell you, I think Luo Yichuan is nuts. When he came to deliver medicine to me limping, I just asked him why he was limping. Then he suddenly scolded me for no reason. He said I was stupid, that my brain wasn't good. So I told him, yeah, nobody has a better brain than your goddess. Then he suddenly stopped talking, his face cold. It was quite uncomfortable to stay there with him. Given my condition, I knew I couldn't run anyway, so I asked for leave to return to the dorm. Lin Zhu laughed lightly and said in a very soft voice, let's see how long he can endure. See how long he can endure not confessing his feelings to you. What? Jiu Mei didn't quite understand what she meant. Nothing, you'll find out soon, Lin Zhu teased. Soon after the end of the sports meeting, the basketball competition for the first semester of senior year was put on the schedule. The sports committee walked into the class with the competition schedule, and there were only a few scattered people in the room. Their first opponent was Class 2. Why is it Class 2 again? We got wrecked by them last semester, a boy complained at the door. What can be done about being defeated? Zhao Zikeng, the head of the class bullies, leaned on the doorway with his arms crossed. Considering the situation of our class, having only 6.5 boys, we might as well just forfeit. Half? What do you mean? One of them is lame, only counts as half, Zhao Zikeng smirked in contempt. Hey Zikeng, don't talk nonsense. He is Luo's son, a boy admonished him hurriedly. Why should I be afraid? He is a cripple after all. Zhao Zikeng looked around the classroom, only to find a few quiet girls reading books. He seemed a little triumphant. Who would dare to snitch to Luo Yan? The classroom fell silent. No one made a sound. Jiu Mei, who was flipping through papers, suddenly stood up, shouting loudly at Zhao Zikeng. If someone doesn't know how to talk, just shut up. Zhao Zikeng was startled, and immediately walked over to Jiu Mei. Who are you talking about? Whoever talks nonsense gets mentioned, Jiu Mei sneered, staring at him fiercely. I'm talking about Luo Yichuan. Does it have anything to do with you? He's nothing more than a cripple, and I can't talk about him. Zhao Zikeng leaned towards Jiu Mei in a threatening manner, yet Jiu Mei was not scared at all. She looked into his eyes and replied, I think those who can't talk sense are the real cripples. Zhao Zikeng was taken aback for a moment. After a few seconds, he turned to Jiu Mei and yelled, Say that again. The boys at the door heard the commotion and rushed to hold back Zhao Zikeng. Hey, brother Cheng, cool down, don't lower yourself to her level. Zhao Zikeng gasped for breath, and after a while, a mocking smile suddenly appeared on his face. You are in love with Luo Yichuan, huh? He said lightly. Does he have eyes for you? Tears welled up in Jiu Mei's eyes. She tried to slap Zhao Zikeng, but he gripped her wrist tightly. Let go of me. Jiu Mei struggled to free her hand from his, but it was of no avail. In the midst of her struggle, the name Luo Yichuan unwittingly crossed her mind. A hero saving the damsel in distress. She suddenly wished he was here. If he were here, she wouldn't be struggling with Zhao Zikeng. Unfortunately, the one who could summon him to rescue on time was always Yi Zhao. Never her. So why did she even stand up for him in the first place? Jiu Mei, you're truly asking for it. Zhao Zikeng, let go of me. Suddenly, a voice rang out from the door. Jiu Mei turned her head around in shock towards the direction of the voice. Luo Yichuan walked in from the door, his face full of anger. He glared at Zhao Zikeng and warned, Touch her again and I won't hesitate to take this to my father. For some reason, Jiu Mei's vision blurred in an instant. Although she had been frightened earlier, she never thought she would cry. She saw Zhao Zikeng turning his head and shouting at Luo Yichuan without shame, What does it matter to you if I discipline her? Meanwhile, Luo Yichuan replied loudly, Because I like her. That's why it matters to me. In an instant, all sound went silent for Jiu Mei. She even thought Luo Yichuan never actually said that his words were just a hallucination her mind made up. A hallucination. But why had Zhao Zikeng also frozen, automatically releasing her wrist? After the situation was resolved, Luo Yichuan took Jiu Mei out of the classroom. Both of them walked in silence until they reached an empty stairwell. Luo Yichuan gave Jiu Mei an irritated look and asked coldly, You're quite something, Ji Jumei. Dare to confront Zhao Zikeng. Think you're pretty tough, huh? Did I do something wrong? When he picked a fight with me, was I just supposed to do nothing? Jumei asked. Don't provoke him then. You knew you couldn't cope with him and yet you had to be assertive. I only did so because tears welled up in her eyes as she turned her head away. Never mind. However, Luo Yichuan suddenly reached out, lightly touching Jumei's head. The stairwell corner was empty, so quiet that the thumping of Jumei's heart could be clearly heard. I'm sorry, Luo Yichuan ruffled her hair, his tone unusually gentle. You? What for? Jumei stiffened. I think I've fallen in love with you, he said in a very soft voice. Jumei pushed him away harshly. Aren't you in love with Yi Zhao? She doesn't like me. So, am I your backup? Anger seared in Jumei's eyes. I didn't, Luo Yichuan furrowed his brow, stammering. I always thought I loved Yi Zhao, but then I realized that what I feel for her is not love at all. On the contrary, it's you who always annoys me and confuses me, making me feel baffled. What the hell was he talking about? Are you blind? Jumei stared into his eyes resolutely. In what aspect can I compete with your goddess? Then I'm no match for Yi Feng, or Lu Ming either. Why don't you like them? Luo Yichuan countered. Jumei was stunned by his question and couldn't respond for a long time. On the way to the basketball court in the afternoon, after Jumei finished telling a story, Lin Zhu was moved to both laughter and tears. Why are you so emotional? Jumei looked surprised. I'm just happy for you, Lin Zhu chuckled foolishly. Do you have someone you like? Jumei suddenly asked her. Lin Zhu hesitated for a moment and shook her head. Why did you take so long to react? Shouldn't you have outright said no? Jumei stared at her suspiciously. Who were you just thinking about? Speak up. Who was she thinking about? If fate could be kind enough to her, would Yi Feng one day stop liking Shemo and turn to like her instead? She was frightened by her own dark thoughts, as if from the moment they started dating, she never sincerely wished them well. With so many excellent boys in the world, why did Shemo have to choose Yi Feng? Can't she just return her Yi Feng? On second thought, she wanted to laugh. Since there were so many excellent boys, why did she have to settle for Yi Feng? However, she always believed that among all the girls in her grade who liked him, she was definitely the one who loved him the most. Her affection was exceptional. Can you get your act together? What are you thinking? Do you think we will get into trouble for skipping self-study so blatantly to watch the match? Would Mr. Luo be furious? Lin Zhu skillfully changed the subject. Mr. Luo? Jumei chuckled. He went to the province this afternoon to attend some football league. Luo Yichuan said he won't be back all day tomorrow and wanted us to do self-study during math class. Lin Zhu gave a bitter smile, suddenly feeling lucky to have such a class head. After the basketball match between Class 16 and Class 2, Lin Zhu didn't leave immediately. Since Luo Yichuan couldn't play, he asked Yi Feng to help. The next match was between Class 1 and Class 3. When she could hide in the crowd and sneak into the dark without being spotted by him, she still couldn't control herself from watching him. She stood in front of the rail all afternoon, cheering for her class with the people around her, but her gaze never left him. Under the bright lights of the gymnasium, the young man wearing a light blue jersey was like a gust of wind bypassing the defense, raising the ball high with both hands, and with a slight leap, the basketball went in. Sweat slowly seeped from his forehead, but his eyes were still bright and his mouth curved into a smile. She didn't understand basketball, but she could never tire of watching him play over the years. Even though at this moment he was already with someone else, her feelings were dirty, sinful, weak, and wrong. So, Yi Feng, could you please stop being so attractive? Because of my inherent greed, I know that I cannot get some things, but I can't help but keep my eyes on them. She sighed softly, silently looking at his silhouette for a long time, until the evening game ended and the crowd gradually dispersed. As she was packing her bag to leave, she suddenly saw Shimo handed a bottle of water to Yi Feng, who was resting on the railing, and then affectionately wiped his sweat with a towel. She paused in her movements. Why aren't you leaving yet? What are you looking at? A long-lost voice entered Lin Zhu's ears. He Miao was standing in the opposite bleachers, about 2 to 3 meters away from her, with a smug smile on her lips. Jealous? He Miao hummed lightly. That is called a perfect match, understand? The arrogant expression, the full face screamed, "You're not worthy." Lin Zhu sneered, suddenly thought of an idiom. called a dog used by people. She ignored He Miao, picked up her bag and left. As she took 2 steps, her right ear was suddenly hit hard by a basketball flying over, and a strong pain and numbness spread from her ear to half of her face, and a huge rumbling was heard in her ears. She covered her ear and turned back with difficulty, seeing He Miao still laughing. "Sorry," He Miao said in a strange tone. Lin Zhu didn't speak, but silently picked up the basketball at her feet and held it in her arms, and walked towards He Miao with big strides. "What are you doing?" He Miao was scared by her fierce eyes, retreating and shouting as she advanced. "I accidentally hit you. I apologize to you. Are you going to hit back? Is it necessary for you?" "Necessary." Lin Zhu picked up the basketball and with all her strength threw it hard at He Miao. The moment the ball was thrown, the only thought in her mind was, she didn't care about anything as long as it made her feel vented. But He Miao quickly flashed away, instantly pulled Xianxia, who had unknowingly walked over, and hid behind her. The speeding basketball just missed Xianxia's right arm. Lin Zhu stood in place, stunned. "Ah!" Xianxia screamed, holding her arm. He Miao quickly pounced on her, but he shouted loudly, "Yi Feng, Xianxia is injured." He Miao's eyes were firmly fixed on Lin Zhu, and he lifted the corner of his lips and tilted her chin as if to say, "You're done. Are you okay?" Yi Feng ran over from the other end of the railing, grabbed Xianxia's arm and looked at it, asking softly, "Does it hurt?" Xianxia raised her head and shook her head at him with a smile. "Lin Zhu, what are you doing? I've already said it was an accident with the basketball hitting you, and I've apologized to you. Do you really have to retaliate this way?" He Miao yelled at her. "I'm fine." Xianxia smiled and turned to Lin Zhu. "Did you want to hit Miao Miao with the ball just now? Do you two have any misunderstandings? Why don't we talk it out here? We are all classmates. It's better to get along well in the future." Yi Feng's eyes were on Lin Zhu, as if waiting for her explanation. What else does she have to say? Nothing needs to be said. She doesn't know why she feels guilty, like a thief who has stolen something and is being interrogated, or a clown who has failed in his performance and is being laughed at by the audience. She hurt the person he likes. Can she still expect him to help her? The main culprit of her disgrace, the one who gave He Miao a chance, is just her affection for him. "Xianxia, I'm sorry." Her voice broke softly. Tears involuntarily slid down her cheeks, infiltrating the corners of her lips, salty. "What are you crying for? You hurt someone else and you feel wronged?" He Miao was aggressive. The strap of her bag was deformed in Lin Zhu's tight grip. She turned and ran. She seemed to hear Yi Feng calling her name behind her, and she also seemed to hear He Miao squealing, "Ah, Xianxia, your wound is bleeding." Her eardrums were beating, and the fiery pain spread into her throat from her ears, filling her mouth with the taste of blood. She clenched her teeth and told herself, "Lin Zhu, if you like him again, you are the most pathetic clown in the world." Early the next morning, Lin Zhu tossed her bag into the classroom and was about to fetch water from the water room with her thermal mug when she bumped into Yi Feng, who was coming towards her with a cup of water. Caught off guard by the unexpected eye contact, she quickly shifted her gaze and turned her head to look at the school rules and motto pasted on the corridor wall. "Lin Zhu," the boy initiated the conversation. She feigned surprise and turned her head back. "Why were you crying yesterday? What happened?" She chuckled lightly and asked, "Didn't He Miao tell you?" "I don't care what she said." The boy sneered, looking at her. "I'm asking you." A shudder ran through Lin Zhu. "I had a dispute with her earlier. It's just between girls. It's complicated to explain to you. By the way, is Xiaomo's injury okay? It was not intentional for me to bump into her yesterday. I'm really sorry. I owe you another apology." "It's no big deal, just a graze." He scratched his head. The corner of his mouth unwittingly curved into a smile. "That girl is very carefree and doesn't know how to care for herself. She's been giving me a silly smile just so that I don't worry." Feeling a pang of bitterness, Lin Zhu quickly waved at him. "That's good. I better return to class now. Bye." She walked quickly, and in a few strides, she reached the door of the classroom, only to realize she had forgotten to fetch water. She stood in place and started laughing at herself. What was she doing? She sighed, turned back, and once again met his gaze. "I was just thinking, weren't you going to fetch water?" "Why did you leave?" chuckled Yi Feng. "I totally forgot about it while chatting." She headed back, managing to force a smile at him. "That He Miao isn't easy to get along with. I've talked to Xianmo about this, but Xianmo always likes to play with her." If she bothers you again, you can come to me. I'll sort it out for you. Lin Zhu walked up to him and blankly stared into his eyes. Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Yesterday, when He Miao said those ugly words, you didn't say anything. All you ever have in your heart and eyes is Xiamo, so why are you saying all this now? Why should I come to you? Why? She blurted out. This time it was Yifeng who was taken aback. What kind of relationship do we have? Of course I'll help you when you're in trouble. Otherwise, I'll seem too indifferent, he chuckled, raising an eyebrow at her. What kind of relationship do we have? For so many years, Yifeng, have you ever imagined that I could like you? However, she had no rights to confront him. It was always her who concealed her feelings, wanting to bury them in the grave. Well, never mind. She smiled politely, passing him on her way to fetch water. After that day, Lin Zhu hardly ran into Yifeng as often. When she accidentally stumbled upon him on the way to morning exercises or the canteen, she would avoid his gaze and deliberately converse about cheerful subjects with Ju Mei, laughing out loud, to the point that it was physically strenuous by the time he noticed her. She was clueless as to why she was putting on such an act. Maybe it was just to prevent him from smiling friendly at her every now and then. Each time he smiled at her, she felt particularly upset. The life of the third year was not as scary as Lin Zhu imagined. The tension and the increase in the amount of study were not as sudden and rapid as expected. Or maybe it was because she had already experienced the strain of third-year stress in the first and second years, and now she could rationalize and keep calm, as she usually did. Ju Mei studied harder. Luo Yichuan often spent whole self-study sessions tutoring her. During their sessions, the two would often start arguing. I've explained it 3 times and you still don't understand. Are you a pig? If you don't want to teach, then don't. Who are you cursing? All right, for the last time. Stop eating. Put down those chips. Did you hear me, Ju Mei? No, not putting them down. If you keep eating, I will report you to my dad. Fine, Luo Yichuan. If you dare threaten me again, we will break up. Okay, you can eat. Just don't twist my ear, it hurts. During the intervals of marking papers, Lin Zhu would always lift her head to quietly watch the sweet exchanges between the two, her eyes curving into a smile unconsciously. How nice. She suddenly remembered her biggest wish in junior high school, which was to hope that she could be in the same class with him in high school. She didn't know what he was like in class and how happy she would be if she could be with him day after day. Thinking about this, she shook her head to sober herself up and even wished she could slap herself a few times. The hands of time marched on with the pressing rhythm of the first round of review after the midterm exam. After the exams, the temperature plummeted and an unexpected early snow arrived. During the noon break, Lin Zhu opened up the English test paper on her desk, picked up her pen and prepared to do a large closed test question. Her seat was next to the window. The cold winter wind leaked from the not-so-tightly shut window, causing her fingers to stiffen from the cold. Outside the window, the crowd was bustling and the sounds of shouting and laughter continuously poured in. Students were building snowmen and having snowball fights in groups of 3 or 5 on the large open grounds between the arts and science buildings. A thin layer of fog condensed on the window glass. For some reason, Lin Zhu had always enjoyed drawing pictures and writing on foggy glass since she was a little girl. When she was in elementary school, she would draw little stars and hearts on the fogged glass windows. Around the time she started junior high school, whenever she saw a foggy window, her first instinct was to instinctively write someone's name on it with her finger. Yifeng. When no one was paying attention, she would stealthily write down the 2 characters Yifeng, then quickly rub it out. In the clean, transparent window lay her transparent secret. She stared blankly at the foggy window in front of her. The loudspeaker on the campus outside the window suddenly made a sound. The noontime broadcast began. The broadcaster began to play a song. Today's song was Moon Over Luzhu. Moon Over Luzhu. In a daze, it was as if Lin Zhu had gone back to the summer of her second year in junior high, reminding her of the teenager from the class next door who always brought her joy. She stretched out her finger, subconsciously wanting to write his name on the glass, but before she could finish writing the character, she suddenly realized what she was doing and stopped. What was she doing? Yifeng already had someone he liked. He didn't like her, he never liked her. So what on earth was she doing now? She blindly used her palm to wipe the characters she had just written, trying to wipe the condensed vapor on the window completely clean in a fit of feeling. Her palms were red with cold, and the glass window was wiped clean by her, clearly revealing the bustling scene outside. Suddenly, a snowball hit the clean, transparent window, exploding on it like a pure, bright daytime firework, blooming before her eyes unexpectedly. Yi Feng threw it. Luo Yichuan, who had somehow entered the classroom and sat down at his seat diagonally forward to the right of Lin Zhu, turned around and said out of the blue. Lin Zhu stared blankly out the window. The boy in a deep blue plaid padded jacket waved towards her with his hand wrapped in gray cotton gloves. He jumped high, his smile as bright and radiant as the winter sun above him. In the biting cold, he was like a sun with its own heat source. Lin Zhu felt a sting at the corner of her eyes, saw Luo Yichuan waving at him out of the window, and immediately averted her gaze, lowering her head to look at the closed test on the English paper. An English sentence was read over and over by her for several times, but it just could not enter her mind. The melodious tunes of the song on the broadcast echoed in her ears. "Who are you with now? I can't cry like I used to." Lin Zhu felt a sudden pain in her heart. She forced herself not to think nonsense, trying to concentrate on the closed test before her. Luo Yichuan suddenly turned around and knocked on her desk. "Are you able to study?" Lin Zhu nodded, made eye contact with Luo Yichuan for a moment, but then honestly shook her head. "Chat for a while?" Luo Yichuan said. "Let's chat." Lin Zhu put down her pen, looked up and asked, "What should we talk about?" "Do you really like Lu Ming?" Luo Yichuan showed a sly smile. "Do you have a problem?" Lin Zhu yelled at him expressionlessly. "No, why are you so anxious?" Luo Yichuan puzzled. "I just asked." "Okay, I'll change the question. Do you like anyone?" Lin Zhu paused and shook her head. "I suppose so. You only know about studying all the time, probably have no idea what it feels like to like someone," Luo Yichuan leisurely said. "How could it be impossible to understand?" Lin Zhu refuted him in her heart. "No one would understand better than me what it feels like to like someone." "Actually, I didn't understand it before either." "I did after I met her," Luo Yichuan said, lifting his chin towards Jumei's empty seat. "I found that liking someone feels like your brain is not under control. All her actions are like pulling your brain with a string. As long as it is related to her, you will instinctively respond and act, completely out of rational control." Luo Yichuan said, "This is based on my own experience, seems quite reliable. You can use it to verify, to see whether you like Lu Ming or not." Lin Zhu raised her hand to hit Luo Yichuan, but Luo Yichuan stood up abruptly and dodged, saying he would go out for a walk, and then he left the classroom. Lin Zhu's gaze fell back on the closed test in front of her, but she kept pondering over what Luo Yichuan had just said to her in her mind. Does that mean that once love is poured out, it can no longer be rationally controlled, eventually leading to a point of no return? In the bleak winter, the second semester of high school senior year arrived soon after the brief winter break. After the arrival of spring, with the weather gradually warming up, more than 2 months flew by in a flash, and the first round of mock exams quickly concluded. On the evening when the exam ended, Lin Zhu stayed in the classroom comparing answers to social science multiple-choice questions with Lu Ming, her heart growing colder the more they compared. Memorizing the basic knowledge points in the textbook was not enough. The difficulty of the college entrance exam was always much more than what she'd imagined. She hung her head, listlessly drawing one big red cross after another on her test paper as she compared to Lu Ming's answers. Lu Ming laughed at her actions. "My answers aren't necessarily correct either. Why are all the answers different from mine crossed out? You're a genius, I trust you." Lin Zhu muttered without lifting her head. Lu Ming suddenly felt the urge to tousle her hair but eventually held his hand back mid-air, rubbing his own neck instead. "Take a break, I'll go get water," said Lu Ming, picking up his and her water bottles. "Thank you," she lifted her head and smiled. Not long after Lu Ming left, Luo Yichuan suddenly rushed into the classroom in a hurry. "Weren't you out for dinner with Jumei?" Lin Zhu asked as she looked up. "I just heard that Yi Feng is fighting with a bunch of thugs outside the school. I have to rush over to help now. If I could get a mobile phone, I would leave." Upon hearing this, something seemed to explode in Lin Zhu's brain. "I'm coming with you." She put her pen down and stood up. "What for?" Luo Yichuan was taken aback. "This is not a spectacle, it's pretty dangerous. Don't get involved." Without listening to him, Lin Zhu sprung to her feet and chased after him, her feet seemingly swift as the wind. "What does his fight have to do with you?" "Does he have anything to do with you, Lin Zhu?" Yet she simply ran swiftly, her brain blank, leaving no time to clear up all these sudden questions in her mind. At this moment, what Luo Yichuan once told her was precisely validated extensively in her own actions. She simply couldn't control herself. Late at night in a bar. When Linsu rushed in, the bar was already in chaos. The noise mixed in the air, thick and heavy. Streaming lights were running through the walls. The patchy shadows dazzled her until she couldn't open her eyes. She managed to squeeze into the front of the crowd through the gaps in the hurried footsteps. Finally saw Yifeng standing protectively in front of Xiamo. He was closely shielding Xiamo behind him. "Bro, listen to our advice. Stay away. This has nothing to do with you. This girl always uses her pretty face to play around. Hung around with one of our guys for a few days. Dumped him then. I just called her over. Want to give our guy an explanation, then we can wrap it up. You're protecting her like this? Is she worth it?" Gangsters in front of him were taking turns to speak, yet Yifeng's expression remained unchanged. He looked straight into their eyes and said, "Try laying a finger on her." Linzu's chest suddenly felt as if it was being crushed by a giant rock. It ached to the point she was short of breath. She saw a few of the leading thugs brandishing their sticks at Yifeng, and she saw countless fists land on his face and body. She saw the crowd swarming up, with Luo Yichuan frantically grabbing at Yifeng's arm, being pushed away by Yifeng to protect Xiamo. Her mind blanked out, and without a second thought, she charged forward like a madwoman. She didn't know what she could do for him, but she was determined to protect him even if it meant risking her life. He was her favorite boy. The overlapping shadows and the shaking crystal chandeliers cast a dizzying illusion, blurring her sight. All she could do was desperately grab the clothes of the forward-rushing thugs as they pushed her to the ground. The compact crowd then formed a wall-like barrier, blocking the chaotic scene and completely obscuring Yifeng from her sight. Just as she was about to stand up and re-enter the crowd, she noticed a blonde-haired boy passing in front of her and running towards the coffee table behind her, grasping a fruit knife. "Knife, Yifeng!" Fear and panic surged onto her heart. Nearly instinctively, she struggled to stand, clumsily hurling herself towards the blonde boy holding the knife, gripping his knife-wielding arm and biting down hard. The thug cried out in pain, struggling to free himself, but she held on, biting firmly on his arm while trying to snatch the knife away from him. During their struggle, the razor-sharp edge of the knife slashed through her palms, intensifying the pain. Yet she did not stop, until finally, she managed to grasp the handle of the knife, biting harder and snatching the fruit knife away, throwing it harshly to the ground. The sound of the knife landing on the floor echoed. Her pounding heart finally settled, and she had no strength left in her body. "Ouch! It hurts. Let me go." The thug finally jerked his arm free, covering the bleeding bite wounds on his arm with a fire burning in his eyes, and then kicked her in the chest. She fell to the ground, her ears ringing, and her vision began to blur. Her disheveled hair was harshly grabbed by the looming figure in front of her, making her scalp hurt. The thug's face suddenly came close to hers. "Well done, little girl." He bared his teeth, smirking at her. Her mind was in a mess, but she vividly remembered the scenes from movies where clothes were torn off, and she instinctively held her arms around her chest. "Stop it, the police are here." The siren of a police car echoed from the outside of the bar, and the thugs scattered in panic. In the scattering crowd, she saw Luo Yichuan helping a battered Yifeng to the corner sofa, where Shimo wept heavily onto him. She saw Yifeng, despite being in severe pain, still grinning at Xiamo. The thrilling story finally came to an end, and the feelings between the main characters grew stronger in difficulty. And who was she? She was the one playing the part of the passionate character passionately, but could only move herself in the end. She struggled to get up, barely supporting herself on her trembling legs, limping out of the bar leaning on the wall. Outside the bar, the dusk was dense and heavy, and the pitch-dark night suddenly poured down a torrential rain. She slowly walked down the street to a closed shop at the corner, leaning her back against the glass door, hugging her knees, and slowly squatted down. Blood drops slid down her fingers, mixed with the rainwater, forming a thin red river. She just blankly stared at the little red in the rainwater, her consciousness gradually scattered. She didn't have the strength to think about anyone or anything anymore. "Why are you here?" An umbrella covered her head. She looked up in a daze and saw looming at first glance. She subconsciously reached out to wipe her tears, but her wrist was grabbed by the boy squatting opposite her. "How did you get this?" His brows were tightly furrowed, his eyes staring directly at the bloodstain on her hand. Complex emotions surged from his eyes. "Let's go to the hospital." He pulled her arm, trying to pull her up, but she didn't move, shaking her head at him desperately. Tears fell like broken pearls, one by one from her reddened eye corners, flowing into Lu Ming's choked chest, flooding his heart. He slowly released the hand that was holding her arm, opened his arms, and gently held her. "It's okay." He patted her back, his tone was mild and soft. She buried her head in his arms. The moment his hand stroked her icy hair, she started to cry out loud, unabashedly. Her heart seemed to have been stabbed by a knife. Every time she sobbed, the knife went deeper by an inch, burying her entire heart in a bloody mess. For the first time, she experienced a heart-rending pain that spread from her chest to her entire body. "Don't tell anyone, please." After she had finished crying, she looked at Lu Ming with teary eyes. He nodded. "Thank you," she continued. Lu Ming let go of her, giving her a comforting smile, but his fists were clenched and his eyes were scorching hot. "You love him so much, Linzu. You love him so much that I am utterly powerless."